Greetings, Rebel fans. My name is Jason Kelly. This is the Let's Run podcast. I want to welcome you on to this post-game show that will kind of act as my Runnin Rebel podcast of the weekend. We had the pregame show where you guys saw a version of me that was pretty hopeful. I had good feelings coming into this game. I thought, the Boise State game was, I don't want to say it was an aberration, but I thought that they would come out with a renewed level of focus in this game versus the Colorado State Rams. I thought the matchup was better than the Boise State matchup was because of some of the issues that Colorado State has shown on the rebounding front and just Colorado State's offensive issues that they've had this year. Instead, the Runnin Rebels go to Moby Arena in Colorado, in Fort Collins, Colorado, and put up what I think is, this game and the Air Force game are probably similar levels in terms of just, the level of effort that the Runnin Rebels put into that performance. I'm really disappointed. I'm very, 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 very disappointed in the guys and the players. I'm disappointed in the coaches. I'm disappointed in everybody. Everybody that's involved with this week for the Runnin Rebels. I'm disappointed. It's tough. It's tough to win on the road in the Mountain West. It is. Teams struggle on the road in the Mountain West. You saw San Diego State, a very good team, lose in non-competitive fashion at New Mexico today. You're going to see, in my opinion, you're going to see Boise State lose to Utah State tonight. You saw Reno lose to New Mexico. It's tough to win in the Mountain West on the road. So I don't want to act like, an 0-2 week with road games at Boise and at Colorado State are surprising because they're not. It's not. Ken Palm had us losing both of these games. The odds makers had us losing these games. We were not supposed to win either of these games. But what we were supposed to do was kind of prove to a certain extent that, that we were a legitimate team. Obviously, I think that even the most optimistic fans probably thought that this Runnin Rebel team was not going to win the Mountain West Conference this year. I think that was probably a pretty fair assumption. But I feel like there was a hope, at least, with the 5-game winning streak, that there was going to be a level of competitiveness in the Mountain West this year. And 2 games, we're 3-2 now in the conference. We've lost 2 games on the road. It happens, there's going to be a lot of teams are going to lose games on the road. But what's disappointing is that 3-0 starts, and at the first opportunity to play a team that was not terrible, the Runnin Rebels just completely folded and looked awful. In games against teams that are 150 or above in Ken Palm, the Rebels have looked pretty good this year. They've beaten teams like New Mexico State. They've beaten teams like San Jose State. They've beaten teams like UC Riverside. But every time that they've played a team that is any good at all outside of the Dayton game, it hasn't been good. They've just looked bad. They've looked out coached. They've looked out hustled. They've looked out strength. They've looked out everything. And these 2 games, I would have liked to have won one of them. I really did. I thought the Rebels were going to win one of these 2 games against Boise State or Colorado State. I thought they were going to be top 6 kind of team in the Mountain West, but they look like the worst non-bottom 3 team. So they look like the 8th best team in the league right now. Wyoming looks better than they do. Reno, even though Reno is 0-4, they look better than we do. This program and this team and these players just look lost. And there is an apathy and anger amongst Runnin Rebel fans right now that is palpable. Just going on Twitter, I guess I should look at my timeline real quick. I'm sure there's going to be lots of angry Yeah, I mean Tom Moser, he's basically one of the voice of Mountain West coverage. He said, "Got home to watch the second half of CSU UNLV. Talk about two teams and programs heading in opposite directions. My goodness, that's the definitions of it." Um, yeah, I mean we look like a team and a program that is just heading in the wrong direction. This Colorado State team is not good. I mean, they're fine. They're a reasonable Mountain West team. They will be competitive with a lot of teams they play, but this isn't some world beater Colorado State team. This Boise State team that we lost to isn't some world beater Boise State team. We haven't even played one of the top three teams in the Mountain West Conference at this point yet. San Diego State, Utah State, New Mexico, those are the top three teams in the Mountain West, and Colorado State, Boise State are in the second tier. So, what's going to happen? I don't see us doing very well. It feels like the program is at a breaking point right now. Um, a bad blowout type loss to Utah State, I believe, is the next team we play. I believe we get a chance to play Utah State in the Thomas and Mack next, a nationally ranked Utah State team actually, at the Thomas and Mack, and it feels like this Utah State game on Wednesday is going to be a breaking point for the program. Um, it's not going to be very highly attended. There's probably going to be quite a few Utah State fans in the arena at the Thomas and Mack. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to hear the Utah State fans making more noise than the Rebel fans throughout points of that game, because the apathy around the program is going to be at all-time high levels here. Uh, Yeah, I mean, this looks like a team that's going to be like in the 7-10 game and beat Air Force in the first round and then lose to whoever in the second round. That's what this team looks like right now. Um, this Utah State game is going to be an opportunity for you know is going to be an opportunity for Kevin Kruger to maybe gain back some momentum after a couple of tough road losses. But I guess I'll get into the specifics of the game because I saw a lot that I didn't like. I didn't see a team playing with purpose or direction. Our offensive schemes, Colorado State's a very good defensive team. They're not a great offensive team, despite what they look like tonight. The only reason they looked like um, the only reason they looked so good on offense because they were playing us tonight. But the UNLV offense, I mean, it was a lot of all of our actions. I mean, they're trying to run things. What you have to understand is I hear a lot of Rebel fans a lot of times say, well, the team doesn't run offense. And that's not exactly true. What happens is, we will run zoom action. We'll run, curls, baseline curls for DJ to try and get him the ball at the top of the key. We'll run high pick and roll. I mean, we run offense. The issue is good defenses just blow up our first action, and then our players don't have the ability to, they don't seem to have a backup plan. There's no complexity to our offense, is how I feel. I do see Kevin Kruger call good plays sometimes that end up in good results. But opposing defenses just blow up our offensive sets too quickly. I mean, you don't beat around the game of basketball as much as a guy like Kevin Kruger has been. Say what you want about his lack of experience. He has been around basketball his whole life. He knows how to call plays. The issue is that defenses are blowing up our offensive schemes and sets. And the players just don't seem to be able to adjust to the physicality. Teams are hedging high against us on DJ. They're kind of doubling DJ to try and get the ball out of DJ's hands. They're giving it to players, and outside of Jaden Henley, who seems to be the only Rebel with any rhythm offensively right now, nobody's able to really respond to it very well. Looking at the stats for the game today, DJ Thomas did actually finish with 19 points. I thought it was an okay DJ game, but it just doesn't matter when the defense is as bad as it is. So it was 19 points for DJ Thomas and 19 points for Jaden Henley. Both guys, played pretty good offensive games. Henley's, 19 points were a little fluky because he did make 4 out of 7 threes. It was a horrendous game for one Julian Rishwain, really struggling out there on the floor. I did not think that Julian Rishwain should be a part of a huge part of the rotation coming into the year, but he has proven, to have some level of value and some level of worth to the offense, an offense that is just struggling whenever they play an even somewhat competent defense. But it's just not working. Only 21 minutes, 0 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, an awful Brooklyn Hicks game. Brooklyn's really struggling. UNLV only 63% from the free throw line. Jalen Hill had 1 rebound, our starting power forward. That's not going to cut it. Our starting center, 4 rebounds, and 3 of those were offensive rebounds. I mean, only 1 defensive rebound from Bear Cherry, who has turned from what I thought was a promising start to his, young career to his young time as a Runnin Rebel to a horrific season out of Bear Cherry at the current time. I still think Bear has a lot of potential and a lot of ability and talent, but this staff is just not getting it out of Bear. They're not extracting the talent that Bear has right now. They're not using it. I guess you can throw some of that on Bear himself, but it's bad. It's really bad. You saw Jalen Bedford had a horrific game, 2 of 11 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Bedford looks lost. In fact, Jalen Bedford was our leading rebounder today, 8 rebounds for our, I get that Robert Whaley is out. We all get that Robert Whaley was going to be a big part of this team. Probably the second best player on the team. But Robert Whaley being out is not how did we not have a better contingency plan for the center position? We're relying on an 18-year-old, 19-year-old Pop who is fine. I mean, Pop's good. I like Pop and Ndiaye. I think he's great. But if he's our only viable center because Bear Cherry can't play, and why is Isaiah Cottrell still on the team? He's not playing. Why are we wasting a roster spot on a center and not using him? I get it. I don't think Isaiah Cottrell has been good this year at all. And really ever since he got to the Rebels, I don't think he's been very good. But we need a competent center on this team. And I don't see one on the roster. Yeah, and this is the other thing. Rob is only 6'6". I mean, I don't even know if outside of shoes, I don't know that Rob is above 6'6" at all. I think he might be 6'5" and something. It is just malpractice to go into a season. This team needs Carl Jones back. This team needs somebody some size. And again, Banana Man, appreciate you, brother. Go Rebels. The backup point guard was supposed to be Jace Whiting, and Jace Whiting's been out. But if Brooklyn Hicks and Jalen Bedford can't make up for the backup point guard position and the injury of Jace Whiting, then what are we doing? What are we doing with this roster? We saw Jaden Henley running point guard against San Jose State, and that was a great adjustment that I thought was really working. Why did we go away from that? It's not like we were forced away from it. We just aren't doing it anymore. Why? I thought that was a good adjustment. I thought that because Jaden Henley did play point guard in high school. We can't make layups. A lot of this is Jalen Hill. He really struggles at the rim. DJ's had a bad season at the rim. DJ's had a bad season at the rim. Jalen Hill's had a bad season at the rim. Bear Cherry hasn't really struggled at the rim, but Jalen Bedford has had an awful season at the rim. The whole roster, I mean, even you have to have a physical roster with a lot of size around a small point guard like DJ Thomas. You have to. And this team doesn't have the size or the physicality. Yeah, even Jackie Johnson. Why? I thought Jackie Johnson was fine, not great or anything, but he could play backup point guard. We saw Jackie Johnson win a game at the University of Reno by himself one year. This roster, does not look good enough. Like it's not good enough. The roster just isn't it. And to have a star player like DJ, you have to build a roster around him that makes sense. And we just didn't do it this year. And Rob Whaley and Jace Whiting minutes, I get that those guys probably would have been part of the rotation, but that's not good. Those two players aren't fixing these issues. Rob Whaley is going to help you rebound a little bit, but I mean, looking at Rob Whaley's stats from last year, I think he only averaged like 4.2 rebounds a year. And so this team is struggling to finish at the rim. This team is struggling to shoot well. This team is struggling every time they play a team that is any sort of competent. The team is struggling. Robbie wants Burner Brigade. I'm not going to do Burner Brigade today. I'm going to wait for the Utah State game, probably. So I hope you guys are okay with that. I feel like Burner Brigade, after kind of a spicy episode, maybe we should just take. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about after the Utah State game, and we'll probably have Utah State fans there. And yeah, like Masked Rebel, I'm trying to make sure I get everybody's comments up here. This does feel like a roster of back end bench players trying to play starters minutes. If Jaden Henley was our first player off the bench, I think that would be a pretty solid team. He's our second best player right now. Jaden Henley is our second best player right now. That's just not going to work. X Factor Rebel says our brand will survive, but we need a change after the season. I don't know much more of this. We may just have to pull the trigger sooner. I'm so torn. I'm no coach, but I just don't see this sustainable even for half a season. And Masshole brings up this same point. Jason, Kevin Kruger going to go midseason. Athletic department wants to change the culture of the program. He goes tomorrow morning. Like, I totally get why people would want to be firing Kevin Kruger at this point, midway through the season. We're angry. It's been 12 years of mediocrity and apathy, and we want something done to the program. I still don't think that's the right call. I still think that Kevin Kruger is a good man and a Rebel for life. And, unless Kevin Kruger himself resigns, I just don't think there's any reason to get rid of him midseason. And it's not that getting rid of him wouldn't send a message. It would. But with where this program has been, it's not like we're San Diego State who 3 or 4 years ago, are coming off of a national championship game. We've been mediocre for 12 years. Kevin Kruger has been maintaining the standard that has been set by the last 10 years of UNLV basketball. I don't think this athletic department wants to pay Kevin Kruger to sit at home for the rest of this year and not coach. Is there a person on the bench that I think, who's on the bench right now that I think could do a better job than Kevin Kruger? There actually is. I would be highly in favor of promoting, if you were going to do this, fire a coach midseason. I would instill Barrett Peary, pretty much our lead assistant. I would instill him as the head coach tomorrow. The interim coach, I'd love to see what he can do with half a season. I think that he has the passion, and a lot of times I feel like he is the passion behind the scenes, the energy behind the scenes. But I don't think this athletic department wants to pay a coach to sit at home for the rest of the season and not coach. Let me make sure I keep moving up the comments. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Yeah. Again, Nick brings up points about the roster construction. It's bad. Nick, you're totally right. Pop is great. I think if Pop was our backup center or our third best center on the roster, that this team would be in a good spot because Pop has a lot of potential, and I really like Pop as a player. That's the thing is I don't know that replacing Coach Kruger with Barrett Peary really changes the trajectory of the season. Although I would be excited to see like what that would do for the roster. But I don't know. We're up to 170 people watching right now. That's the thing. People care about the Runnin Rebels. Like they may not be going, but people actually care. People care. People want a better standard for this program. They do. So, if you think that if you're one of the midseason firing people and you think, oh, well, nobody cares about the program anyway, that's just patently false. People care about this program. They care about the team. They care about the history. They care about the relationships that the Runnin Rebels have helped them build with their family and their friends. They care about the experiences that the Runnin Rebels gave them when they were in college. So Totally true. Um, it's bad when I'm fading for Vicky Walker. I'm not fading for. I actually had a lot of hope for Victory Walker, and I don't think that he was great. Uh, it's the worst part. We just got clobbered, and we're not as upset now. It's just become expected. So yeah, um, yeah. I don't think that none of us are as mad. We're almost just frustrated. It's more of a feeling of frustration than being mad. How does this not scream midseason firing? I don't think that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it if I were Eric Harper. I just don't think that it will happen. I would consider it, but yeah. Emergency burn. Yeah, if Kevin Kruger gets let go midseason, there will be an emergency burner brigade podcast. I want to make sure I get everybody's comments in here. I'm almost caught up. Banana Man says Dave Rice was a great recruit. Yeah, I'm actually all on the Dave Rice train. I would hire back Dave Rice tomorrow. If we could hire back Dave Rice and keep Barrett Peary on the staff, I would do that tomorrow. I think Dave Rice would be a better coach now than he was 10 years ago. I do. In this new era of college basketball, a guy like Dave Rice would thrive, in my humble opinion. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel lost too. Peary, totally agree. That's the key, Jason. You have to pay. They have to pay his buyout for this year and next season if they fire him now. Yes, they're not going to fire him because they don't want to pay him to sit at home. Somebody, a donor would have to come up. Yeah, this is also true. A donor would have to come up with buyout money to pay off Kevin Kruger. I'm not going to put that one up, but this comment mentions Ferris Muckerbark. I'm not sure how to say it, but he's a 7-1 walk-on freshman. I really like him. So okay, I think we're caught up with all the comments. Go ahead and keep leaving comments. I'll make sure that I put them up on the screen so that everybody can see them. But yeah, I don't think a midseason firing is going to happen. I don't think this athletic department, if you are upset that we're paying Kevin Kruger to coach for us, and I really don't think we want to be paying him an extra season of buyout money to not coach us. There's a reason. If Kevin Kruger was doing the kind of job that we want him to be doing, he would be. I think he would be. He would be extended by now by Eric Harper, and he's not for a reason. So where do we go from here? I'm going to give you my thoughts on this, right? I'm going to tell you what I think the next steps in the next couple of weeks are going to be for the Runnin Rebels. This game against Utah State on Wednesday is massive. It's a must win. Now, it's a must win because it is the last possible opportunity for the Rebels to continue to be in a top 6 kind of position in the Mountain West Conference. You need to finish in the top 5 for any chance in the Mountain West Conference tournament. So I think this game against Utah State on Wednesday is the biggest game of Kevin Kruger's career as the coach of UNLV. I think it's an opportunity for him to start shifting the momentum a little bit. Yeah, and I think that if you see Kevin Kruger kind of completely fall apart and Utah State walks into the Thomas and Mack on Wednesday, I think you're going to start seeing some players kind of check out, and you're going to see this team go on a huge losing streak. And I think it's going to be we're going to be in some serious trouble. There are comments on the post. I want to make sure I'm catching these. But this game against Utah State is huge. It's huge. And Utah State's a good team. I do think that they're vulnerable. I do think that they are beatable. But yeah, I think that this you're not going to fire him after 2 road losses. But you might fire him after a home blowout loss to Utah State, because they're not going to go on the road and beat San Diego State. That would say they lose to Utah State and then San Diego State. That would put them at 3-4 in the Mountain West, and basically eliminate any opportunity that they have to be one of the competitive teams in the Mountain West Conference. Now, I don't think they're going to be a competitive team in the Mountain West Conference. I want to say that, to be fair. I think that this team probably just doesn't have it talent-wise. This team doesn't have it coaching-wise. This team doesn't play with enough effort. Their chances of being a contender are pretty limited. However, say Kevin Kruger does want to turn this thing around. and at least make this season respectable. Even if conference play is respectable, I still think it's NCAA tournament or bust. So I still think that Kevin Kruger's probably let go at the end of this year, regardless, because I think this year was NCAA tournament or bust. And you might say, well, he doesn't have the roster to make an NCAA tournament, and say that's his fault. If he doesn't have the roster to make the NCAA tournament this year, it's his fault. Um, I don't think we have a shot, but I'm telling you what his formula is for at least saving some face as a coach. Um, X Factor Rebel says, "Do you think they just make their bed for next year and then build a case for money?" I kind of do. Like, I just with the way this program is, unless there was somebody, I would be okay with Barrett Peary being named interim coach and giving him a chance during conference play to be the head coach of the Runnin Rebels. I would be okay with that, but I don't think that the administration believes that's in my opinion. I don't think the administration believes that's going to make a meaningful difference. Um, And yeah, I mean, regardless, the reason why say the Rebels do finish, fifth and then win a game in the Mountain West Conference against conference tournament against Boise State, they're still not an NIT team. They're still not a tournament team. And so, unless a fluke run happens and this team really turns it around in conference play and then wins the conference tournament and then goes to the NCAA tournament, I don't see a scenario where Kevin Kruger's back next year. Now, if Eric Harper decides to bring him back next year, that just means we're kind of moving away from football and we're moving away from basketball and we're just going to be a football school now. But yeah, I think that's kind of where we are right now. So not a great not a great week for the Runnin Rebels. I think that the conference is kind of laughing at us. I think that we're kind of a joke. The most paper tiger basketball program ever. And the last 12 years of Runnin Rebel basketball has been a comedy of errors. And I'm just grateful that we have over 200 people, in a live stream talking about a team that's 9-7. That there is still passion in this program. There is still belief that this program can be good. But it's just not there right now. And the fans will come back. The minute we start winning, the fans will be there. The minute that we are a respectable, towards the end of the season last year, you did see the Thomas and Max start to have people in it, but people just aren't going to put up with this kind of product. Yeah, I'll get into head coaching change stuff when the time comes. For the time being, I'm going to try and cover the team as if Kevin Kruger's going to be the coach for the rest of the season, and I'm going to support them. And I'm going to try and be as positive, I'm going to try not to be as scorched earth negative as possible. Although I do understand that a lot of fans are going to be like that. I'm not a burner account. I do have friends, at UNLV, and there are good people on this staff. There are good players on this team, but it's just not working right now, guys. So that is basically where I wanted to end it. Tough days, but there will be hope in the future. And I do want to wish my beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous, and amazing. Would you like to come on? Come on. It's my wife's birthday today, and I just want to wish her happy birthday. She's going to show herself. Yeah. Woo. So it's my wife's birthday. She's the best. She's the GOAT. I wish that the Rebels had given her a better birthday present because probably about probably about the worst present they could have given us. So we are getting happy birthday comments in the chat. So I appreciate that, guys. You guys are all wonderful. First, the Runnin Masshole has called you the first lady. So the first lady of Runnin Rebel Burner Twitter. So again, if you guys want to see me at the game on Wednesday, go ahead and shoot me a message. Okay, thank you. And you guys have a wonderful Saturday. This Utah State, Boise State game is going to be pretty fun tonight, so I'll be checking that out. But it is what it is right now. I mean, we're just going to have to be patient, and Wednesday night should be pretty fun. So you guys all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, if we get a message from the university that Kevin Kruger's been let go, then we will go live immediately. We'll do a Burner Brigade. We'll do a Let's Run podcast. The season will get a lot more interesting. So, guys, have a great day. Let's run.